It's really raining hard out there. You may can hear it. I was getting ready to go outside, but the rain stopped me. I kind of got a story. About how I met my wife. When I first got in the Army, I met this guy. His name was Curtis Freeman. And we took basic together, then we took our second 8 weeks together at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And every time he could get a weekend pass, he would hitchhike up to Nantahala, North Carolina, and this is where my wife lived. And because he had been dating my wife's sister, Chloe. And he'd go up there on the weekends to see her. And every time he was going to go up there on a weekend, he would ask me, "Why don't you come with me?" He said, "She's got a sister." And he said, "She's cute as a little bug." And he always asked me to go up there, and I never did. But somehow or another, we become like pen pals. We started writing each other. And I wrote her occasionally all through the military service, while I was in the military. And I was even sending her gifts and stuff. And one time, I had this fantastic, I can't remember exactly how I come by that thing, but it was cold weather up there, and I wound up with this coat, a lady's coat, brand new and everything. And I told her I was going to send that to her. Maybe she could use it. But I was also writing this other girl, her name was Elizabeth Tuttle, and she was a high school sweetheart of mine. And somehow or another, I forgot who I was going to give the coat. I wound up sending the coat to Elizabeth Tuttle. And the funny thing is, years later, when me and my wife got married and everything, she asked me about what happened to her coat. And I fessed up and I said I accidentally sent it to Liz Tuttle. And every once in a while, she'd take a jab at me and say, "You sent my coat to Liz Tootle." I don't know how I got that confused, but I did. But I never had met her, my wife, or anything till after I was out of the Army. And I hadn't written her for a long time. And I wrote her a letter. The address was easy to remember. It was her name and then Star Route, Topton, North Carolina. I can't remember the zip code. Might not even been zip codes. And I wrote her a letter. And and I didn't know this at the time, but when she got the letter, she was gonna tear it up. She wasn't even gonna open it because she was mad at me for quit writing her. And her sister Chloe, who was unmarried, said, "Well, if you don't open it, I'm gonna open it." And the boyfriends was kind of scarce up there in the mountains, and my wife knew if she didn't open that letter, Chloe was going to open it and try to strike up a relationship with him. So my wife grabbed the letter back. She opened it. She read it. She sent me some mail back, and we got to talking and everything. So we started writing each other and everything and stuff, and then decided we wanted to meet. And I don't know how many letters we exchanged, and then I decided I had a part-time job, but I had got some time off. I wanted to go up there and meet her. And I got on a Trailways bus. I didn't have a car. My mama, I had been sending, every month when I got paid, $37.50 of that was withheld, and it was put in a $50 U.S. savings bond. And the savings bonds was automatically sent to my mother to hold on to them for me, because I was tempted if I kept them, I'd probably cash them in and spend them. But unfortunately, my mama cashed them in as she got them and spent the money. When I asked her about my money, she said she thought I give them to her. Well, that was a bunch of crap. I never give them to her. She knew what she's supposed to do with them. But anyway, I got on a Trailways bus, headed up to North Carolina, to Nantahala, North Carolina. And when I got up there, I thought there was like a little town or something, but there wasn't no town. That bus stopped on top of a mountain called Topton, and that's where the post office was and a little restaurant and all that stuff. And I got off the bus and I went into the post office, and there was a little general store and all that, and I was asking them if they knew where Emmett Shields, that was my dad-in-law's name, lived, you know, and Norma Jean and everything, and oh, they knew him. Turns out the postman that delivered the mail to my wife's house and everything was her, let's see, Olson would be her, was Olson Grant. was the delivery guy, and he lived up there just down the road from where my wife is, and they all knew where they was at, and they give me directions and everything. And so I had to walk all the way back down that mountain. The bus dropped me about 8 miles past where I should have got off. And I started walking, and I got all the way down that mountain and turned right on that river road and got about halfway down that river road, and a pickup trucks was coming by, headed that way I was going, and asked me if I needed a lift and where was I going, and I told them, and they said, "Oh, are you Russell?" And I said, "Yeah." How did he know my name? He said, "All that girl up there's talking about you." And so they were neighbors. They lived right down the road from where my wife is. Their name was Cletus and Merle Gassaway. And they had 2 kids. One was about 10, the other was about 13 or 14, the girl was. And they packed me in the truck, and they took me right up there to my wife's house. And everybody was all excited. The Russell was there. You'd have thought I was somebody special or something. And at first, my wife run to her bedroom and hid. She was kind of backwards and shy. But she come on out. We got to talking, and we went outside walking around together and everything. And I can take you right to the very spot that we standing on when we had that first kiss. We walked on down to what driveway, about halfway down to what they called the big spring, and it was a big spring, you know, and it had a pipe coming out of the mountain there, and there's good clean water running out of that thing 24/7. And she picked a mountain laurel leaf. They're kind of a big leaf, showing me how to make a cup out of it and drink water from the spring. Or you could get down there close to that pipe and drink it straight out of the spring. But I couldn't get the cup made. So she started hollering back up at the house, "Bring me a glass, bring me a glass." I ain't never forgot that. They brought a glass, and that was the best water. And it's still there, it's still running. And then come night, I got to sleep in my wife's room, and she slept with her sister in the adjacent room. And that went on for 2 weeks till I decided I had to get back. And I think I was already smitten with her. I think I was in love. And I guess I made 4 or 5 trips back up there to Nantahala visiting with her. And then one day I decided I was just going to move up there and stay at their house till we decided what we was going to do. And one day her daddy said, "I don't see why y'all just don't go ahead and get married." He wasn't liking this man living in his house with his daughter there and everything. and not married. So on a whim, I maybe had $50 to my name. We went across the mountain to Franklin. And that's a good little drive across that mountain. It's all the way up one side and down the other side. That's the county seat. Went in there at the courthouse, got a marriage license, went down the hallway to the justice of the peace, that's a judge, and got married. Don't have my marriage certificate now because we lost it in a fire. But my mother-in-law was with us, and Chloe was with us, and Annie was with us. And Annie was the youngest. She was like 13 or 14. She made the comment, I don't know if it was going to the judge or after. She said, I want yeah, she said, I want to marry a man just like you. I remind her of that every now and then when she's really pissed off at me about something. Yeah, that's what she said. Anyhow, and by the way, when we was in that judge's office getting married, and it come time to sign, they had to sign their name to something there. My mother-in-law did, and my not my oldest sister-in-law, but Chloe. Ma wasn't too upset. And by the way, Ma actually passed once. She farted right there in the judge's office. The judge wasn't in there at the time, but yes, she did. But that Ma signed her name okay, but Chloe was so nervous she couldn't hardly sign her name. And as I recall, you could tell her handwriting was really messed up on that thing. I wish we still had that. But anyhow, went back to the house, honeymoon in my daughter and my wife's bedroom, all that stuff. And jobs was hard to find. My daddy-in-law was working for a crew that was cleaning the right-of-ways under the power lines, these big high power lines, going up one mountain and down the other. You know, you get a machete and you start chopping bushes and weeds and all that stuff. And he said, you can go over there, they'll hire you. So I went over there, and I couldn't believe the wall of bushes and trees and stuff that was staring at us that we had to cut, walking up that mountain and down the other side and everything. I made it about 500 feet, and I decided I need to go pee. And I disappeared. I laid that machete down and I left, and I hitchhiked back to the house. I couldn't make it. That was some rough work. Something I wasn't accustomed to. But I eventually found a job in Bryson City working for a company called Fairlane Sportswear. And it was big machines in there was making lace, you know, for the garment industry. And these rolls of lace was like 10, 15 feet wide. And I don't know how long. But you had to run a machine. There was all kind of machine down through there running that. And I did that for a while. and it wasn't paying very much. And I got a job at Carolina Wood Turning, which is Cherokee furniture, and they made real high-end, high-dollar, solid maple, solid cherry furniture and stuff, bedroom suites and tables and dining room chairs and all that stuff. I worked there for a while. Then I went to Asheville, got a job at Asheville, working at a place called Free Service Tire and Appliance. And I was there, I changed tires and stuff for a little while, and then they put me in the appliance department. They sold washers and dryers and refrigerators and TVs. And I got a job in there delivering that's the furniture and stuff that they sold. And I worked there about a year. I was only getting $1.40 an hour. And I asked them about a nickel raise. I wanted $1.45. So yeah, I worked a couple of years. And I was wanting a raise, and I was asking for a stinking lousy nickel more an hour. I wanted $1.45. And they wouldn't give it to me. And I was telling my brother-in-law about it. And he worked in Hickory in a furniture factory. He said, "Is that all you're making an hour, is $1.40?" I said, "Yeah," and I was trying to get $1.45. He said, "Well, come down to Hickory and I can get you a job immediately for $1.75 an hour." I thought, man, that's big bucks. And he said, "That's just training. They'll start you at $1.75 just training you, and once you get trained, you go on piece rates and you'll make double that an hour." So that's what we did. We moved to Hickory. I got a job right off the bat, starting the very next day, $1.75 an hour. So that's how I got into the furniture work. I got trained there at Sherrill's Upholstered Furniture Company. And they made a very high-end, expensive line of upholstered furniture, sofas and chairs and stuff. And sometimes I would make $4 an hour average, on piece of. Every time you pick up a piece of furniture and do the part of it that you're supposed to do, there's a tag on there, and you pull that tag off, and that's what you get paid by. You turn them tags in on Thursdays, and they'll cut you a check the next day for whatever amount you turned in. So I worked there for a couple of years. Then I went to another furniture factory called Hickory Parlor and Hickory Colonial Furniture. And that was, I loved that place. The owner was Harold and Frances Reitzel. And they had a mobile home sitting pretty close to their building, and their building was huge. And he said, one day, "I heard you're looking for a bigger place to live in." And I said, "Yeah, it's kind of small." He said, "Well, would you be interested in renting our mobile home over here?" I said, "That's where my stepdaughter used to live." So we moved in there. Lived there a couple of years. Then all I had to do is walk. I could walk to work. It was only like a half a block. But it was nice. It was nice. And he would even let me go in there after their regular hours when they closed every day. And I could go in there and work. Because I was doing it on piece rates. He'd let me go in there at night and work. And I was making good money back then. But then that sucker decided, somebody made an offer. They wanted his building, because he had a huge building. And this company wanted to buy his building. And it was such a good offer, he shut everything down, went out of business. So I didn't work there no more, and I can't. Then the next place I worked at was Loxley Hall. The next place I worked at was Clayton Marcus. And the next place I worked at was Leathercraft. And it was long about that time that I decided I could build furniture or do reupholstery. So that's when I got away from the furniture factories and started getting into my own businesses. But that was about 69 and 70. But it was a good experience, you know. In hindsight, I wished I'd have never started going in business for myself and just kept working for the factories. 'Cause I'm telling you right now, that being in business, it's a tough road and a lot of responsibility. And if I couldn't do that now if I was physically able to do it. Because when you got people hired doing work for you, and they're depending on that paycheck every Friday, and you better dang well have the money to make the payroll every Friday, and that just scares me to death now thinking about it. But I managed to do it. But anyway, that's my story about how me and my wife and I met, and some of the things that happened along the way. Most of it was good. And of course, like I said in that other video, I wished I could just go home one more time before I die. That was that place up there was home. Is home to me. If people ask me now where I'm from, I was born in Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina, but I was raised in Norfolk, Virginia, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, High Point, North Carolina, Jacksonville, Florida. I was raised all over the place. But home to me is my in-laws' home up there. That's home. That's the only real, honest to goodness home family life that I had. Was up there with my in-laws. Yes, it is. Anyhow, Folks, I guess that's my video for today. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And now you know how me and my wife met. And my wife had, was it 7? Let's see, it was Reba. No, it was Gay, Reba, Turk, Nig, Chloe, Sue, Steve, and Annie. 8 kids. And all of my in-laws are dead now except my oldest sister-in-law and my youngest sister-in-law. Gay's the oldest, Annie's the youngest. And the hard thing about that, Gay and Annie don't get along at all. But I love them both. So I have to tread lightly between the two. Annie was on my live stream last night. And Gay was on the phone talking to me today. I wish everybody'd get along. Anyway, folks, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.